Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Erin Corcoran, and I'm the Acting Director and Executive Director of the Kroc Institute for International Peace Studies here at the University of Notre Dame. So today's event celebrates the Legacy Project, a collective effort made possible by the Colombian Truth Commission and the University of Notre Dame's Kroc Institute, specifically the Peace Accord Matrix Project, the Lucy Family Institute for Data and Society, the Clingen Family Center for the Study of Modern Ireland, and the Kellogg Institute for International Studies. As described in the 2016 Colombian Final Accord, the Truth Commission sought to clarify patterns, causes, and explanations of the 52-year-old armed conflict in Colombia between the government and the former FARC-EP guerrillas. Events of the conflict would be recognized and studied by the Commission, as would broad, inclusive participation in peace-building exercises, along with peaceful coexistence across the country's territories. In leading this effort, the Commission would advance transitional justice, human rights, and the centrality of victims. The Commission fulfilled its mandate in August 2022, which culminated in a rich collection of audiovisual and textual narratives drawn from all over the Colombian society. A report was also produced to guide the national and international agenda to consolidate peace in Colombia. For us at the Kroc Institute, contributing with our research, scholarship, and teaching to peacebuilding in Colombia has been a standing commitment for several decades now. The official monitoring and verification of the implementation of the 2016 Peace Accord through our Peace Accords Matrix Barometer Initiative is the most salient project that shows how innovative peace research can contribute to policy engagement and contributing to the well-being of a society that endured a cruel armed conflict. Our event today acknowledges the comprehensive work of historical truth-seeking and marks the migration of the Commission's digital archives, more than 200,000 audiovisual and textual materials, to the University of Notre Dame's server and global platform. All of this is possible thanks to the financial support from both Notre Dame Research and Humanity United. Their financial contribution enables Notre Dame to give the world unfettered access to transmedia content on a secure online platform open to experts and non-expert audiences, victims, civil society groups, artists, and scholars alike. So at this time, I would like to invite us all to give a round of applause for all the sponsors and financial backers who were involved in this considerable and important undertaking. And so now I'm also honored to offer the University of Notre Dame's land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Kroc Institute's presence on traditional homelands of Native people, including the Haudenosaunee, New Miami, Peoria, and particularly the Powhatan Potawatomi, inhabitants of this land for thousands of years and continuing today. We recognize our own place in the story and practices of colonialism and understand that our responsibilities extend beyond this gesture of land acknowledgement. We also must reflect on the University of Notre Dame's past, present, and future relationship with the original stewards of this land and actively pursue ways to amend this troubled relationship. We also note that a land acknowledgement alone can be meaningless if it is not accompanied by the active work to address the structural injustice and violence perpetrated against Indigenous people around the globe, both historically and currently. The Kroc Institute is committed to working to address these harms and to find ways to contribute to constructive transformation through our teaching, research, and peacebuilding efforts. And so now to formally begin our event today, I have the honor of welcoming Father Francisco de Rue, who was the chair of the Commission for the Clarification of Truth, Coexistence, and Non-Repetition. And he's currently a visiting fellow with the Georgetown Americas Institute and a Colombian Jesuit priest, also an economist and philosopher. He has studied philosophy and theology at the University of Javeriana in Bogota and economics at University de los Andes. He is widely recognized for his work towards peace building, reconciliation, and dignity for the victims of Colombia's armed conflict. He has written several books in various languages, some of them in collaboration with other authors, on issues of public ethics, social conflict, and development. Among his most prominent texts are Los Principios de la Paz and the most recent La Odisea de la Paz Imperfecta. So Father Deru, I'm welcoming you here, and I'm going to turn over the microphone to you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you indeed. Taking into account profoundly in my heart the victims of Colombia, I want to express my gratitude to the University of Notre Dame, to Humanities United, to the Kroc Institute, and especially to my friends, Jean-Paul Ledrac, Irene Josefina. For the Truth Commission of Colombia, it is an honor to be able to share with you our mission. It is also the opportunity to reach many people in the world who work for truth, peace, and reconciliation. Thank you for allowing us to deposit in you the legacy of the Truth Commission. We have an immense challenge today in Colombia and in many places, and a lot of expectation. And we expect that the support of you and sharing this mission, we are going to go really to produce this human impact and hope people are expecting, and particularly the victims of Colombia. Thank you indeed. And thank you for inviting me to participate just in the beginning of this conference.
Thank you so much, Padre Deru. Thank you for being here at this launch. Thank you, Erin, for your comments. My name is Leslie Wingender. I'm director on the peacebuilding team at Humanity United.
Ya, ¿se escucha? I'm Leslie. Hello. Can you guys hear me better? Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you, Padre Deru. Thank you, Erin. Thank you to the Kroc Institute. It is an honor to be here to launch the Legacy Project at Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame. I'm Leslie Wingender. I am a director on the peacebuilding team at Humanity United. We are a philanthropic organization that supports peace initiatives around the world. And we are thrilled to be a partner with you all and with the Truth Commission, with so many of you today. Today we have a great panel. What we're going to do first is we're going to talk with 4 members of the Truth Commission in Colombia, who are part of the Truth Commission project in Colombia. And then we're going to talk about the different institutes here at the university that are behind this collaboration of keeping the legacy of the Colombian Truth Commission alive. So with that, I just wanted to start with a question. When you hear the word report, what comes to mind? Just shout it out in the room. Boring. Text. Paper. Shelves. I think you shelve it, right? It's something that, report. That word we have talked a lot, and especially in English, we say, the Truth Commission report, the Colombian Truth Commission report. Saying that does not encompass how amazing the process was, how integral and comprehensive the effort was of over 3,000 people in Colombia who engaged in creating the story, getting to the truth of what was a 52-year armed conflict. So today we have the privilege of talking with 4 people who are part of different elements of putting together that report. And we're going to see now how creative and interesting it was. I think this also want to highlight that we have 4 people here. There are other data scientists who are online from the Colombian team who are part of making this doable. And so we welcome you. We want to send you a hello from South Bend. And with that, I'm going to introduce who we have here. We have Maria Paula Parada, who is a Colombian peace builder and has over 15 years of experience working as an advisor to multilateral organizations in Colombia, Germany, Sri Lanka, and the United States. She was an advisor for peace pedagogy and territorial peace for the High Commissioner of Peace in 2015 to 2018. And in 2018, she became part of the Truth Commission. She was special advisor to Padre de Ru, who we just heard from, and she was the director of cooperation and partnerships for the Truth Commission. She also led the design and implementation of the Truth Commission's outward-facing legacy and has been a key coordinator among the network of allies in Colombia and internationally. We also have Marcela Peláez. She was who studied communication technologies in Melbourne, Australia. She has been the part of the digital field in many different capacities and on different fronts in journalism, digital storytelling, and podcasts, among others. She has been a part of publication portals in Colombia of the Semana, Revista, and La Silla Vacía. She was a director of a content agency before she came on board with the Truth Commission. And when she joined the Truth Commission, she was the manager of the content, and she was behind designing the conceptualization, narration, and implementation of the platform, its components and contents, and connecting it to the research, product design, and development teams. We have Luis Gabriel Moreno, has an MBA from the Externado in Colombia. He is a PhD in engineering from the Universidad de Javeriana. He is a systems engineer at Los Libertadores University Foundation in Colombia and a researcher in computational linguistics and social networks at the Center of Excellence and Appropriation of Big Data and Data Analytics. He was part of the data analytics team of the Truth Commission, where he focused on understanding the complex dynamics through linguistic models and structural social networks. Finally, we have Andrea Gonzalez, who's an economist and a PhD in government from the University of Essex. She has led many different research projects on democracy, violence, and public policy evaluation. She has published in the Social Indicators Research and the LSE Research Online Documents of Economics. She's the co-author of the book Measuring Poor State Performance, Problems, Perspectives, and Paths Ahead. As part of the Truth Commission, she was the team lead for the data analytics. To you four, welcome, and we're excited to hear from you about what was behind the work in putting this together and making the Truth Commission report so creative and accessible.
Thank you, Leslie, for the introduction. And yeah, it's working. Well, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for being here, for having the time to come and share with us. Thank you especially Erin and Josefina, the Kroc Institute, and all colleagues from Notre Dame who have been working on this since almost 8 months daily. Thanks to my colleagues who are here today. We were all related, and we were staff of the Truth Commission, whose mandate came to an end in August last year, but we are still working with the legacy and with the results of the Truth Commission, and that's one of the indicators of our engagement with this, but also an indicator of the possibility we had with other allies to continue working with the results of the Truth Commission. So thank you as well for that. We wanted to share with you a little bit today about the results of the Truth Commission, how we did our work, but we wanted to invite you to come and visit us in the next 2.5 days in these workshops we're going to have, where we can go in detail on all these elements we were working in the Truth Commission in the last 4 years. So first of all, and as Francisco Herru has said, we have a gratitude with you, with Notre Dame, because when we designed this transmedia report we were going to deliver, we were working on producing the results, the contents, and making them friendly in order to be accessible and read and spread out. But we were not aware of what was going to happen after we didn't have more access to the servers and to the digital platforms. We had paid for a time, and then in a moment of time, we realized that was going maybe to disappear 2 years after the Truth Commission. And that was the moment when we had the opportunity to cooperate and to come into a conversation with Humanity United and the Kroc Institute to allow us to safeguard all the products and the information we have been working on as a state institution in Colombia. So that's really a deep gratitude with you in the name of the victims, as Pacho has said. We have more than 9 million victims in Colombia. The armed conflict is still not over. And therefore, we believe that having this information accessible for everyone is a very important issue in order for Colombians to advance toward peace building, but also a very interesting input for transitional justice worldwide because of the elements we have identified, but also because of the methods and lessons learned we have had as a Truth Commission in the last 4 years. So thank you very much for that. I just wanted to share with you about generally about the Truth Commission. We had 4 years mandate. We began in 2018 and we went into August 2022, as I said before. We faced COVID, which was a really incredible challenge for everyone in humanity, but for us, having a task to fulfill in 4 years. And 2 of these 4 years were in a special condition situation for everyone in the world. And we were trying to have as much testimonies as possible. And having the testimonies online was not easy at the beginning, but it was feasible. As you will see, we have had more than 28,000 persons who we reached with their testimonies. So it's a proof that it was possible to do it. We had to change a lot of things and our modes of delivery and our plans, but there was an engagement from the staff, from the commissioners who were leading our institution, but also from the victims in order to overcome that situation, which was completely unexpected. We were working between 2019 and 2021, mainly into rails. That's the way we tried to explain it in Colombia, a silent rail, which was the research rail. It was listening to the victims, listening to the perpetrators, listening to witnesses, listening to the family of the victims, and then receiving a lot of information, databases, contrasting the testimonies with the information. It was a big task for a also big team of researchers in Colombia. Silently, we were doing our process. And then publicly, we were also having another process, which was bringing into public events, into TV, into radio, because we were in COVID those days, testimonies and dialogues between victims and perpetrators, because we needed society also to bring back again this history, which is also our present, but many of these issues happened a lot of years ago. So while we were listening and trying to understand and having a research, we were also bringing these testimonies and these life experiences from victims and perpetrators into public events, having previously done a very good preparation between the victims and the perpetrators before they went into public scenarios. So we were developing these 2 rails almost during 3 years. And almost 1 year before ending our mandate, we realized it was the moment to think about the impacts and about that, what Francisco de Roo named from the beginning, the happening. We needed Colombia because I can remember this day, John Paul Lederach was working with us and he said, what are you going to do the day you deliver the report so that it's not 1 day more in Colombian history? We need this to be a different day. What are you doing? And it was a very good question, very difficult to answer. And then Pacho, Francisco de Roo, our president, was speaking about the happening. We need this to be really a happening in Colombia. We were using this concept in English in many spaces, el acontecimiento then in Spanish. And we were all trying to answer this question. And I guess that was the moment where we began designing a legacy strategy. We were really conscious, and we began also looking around what has happened in other truth commissions around the world, which has been their impact, why, how, and then we built our own legacy strategy, being very conscious that our main task was to deliver the best solid content, the best answer to the question of why the conflict has happened and why it continues to be there. But we couldn't, because of the time and because of our mandate, we couldn't assure that everyone was going to read and to understand what we were delivering. So we knew our task was to have the best content, but also in the best formats or in the best modes of delivery, so that it can continue spreading out without the state institution being there. So that's why we developed the legacy strategy, which we will be deepening in tomorrow, to let you know which were the elements we defined. It was not also having a transmedia, what we will share with you, but it was also fostering very close relationships with allies, like University of Notre Dame, like Humanities United, and we worked together with 300 universities, so that we knew that the contents we were delivering will continue being used after our mandate. On the 28th of June, we delivered our report publicly, and then we had, that's the first experience in the world that a Truth Commission has time to disseminate. It was only 2 months. It's not a lot, even when you think that we had 28 houses of the truth all over Colombia, offices, but we did the best we could in these 2 months, and we were almost in 12 countries and in 55 cities in Colombia in these 2 months, trying to share the results with the broader society, but also bringing the results back to the victims, because that was one of our engagements, was not only to listen to their testimonies in order to comprehend, but also to come back and let them know which were the results of the Truth Commission. So that's what we did in 2 months. And since then, we have been trying to safeguard and bring this, to translate some of the contents we have and some other activities. All this work was done with the leadership of 11 commissioners. These commissioners were elected by an independent committee. Another of the challenges we faced was that 2 of the commissioners who were originally elected died during our mandate. So we needed to elect, or they on their own elected 2 new persons. And you can imagine what it means for a process of a collective construction when you get already after 1.5 years, you have the method, the research method defined and designed, and you all agree on terms and procedures, and then 2 new persons come along with legitimate new questions and new suggestions. So it was, again, I guess it was also an opportunity for the commissioners to see other things they didn't see before. But it was, again, one of the challenges we had in the Truth Commission. We were overall 300 to 3,000 persons involved in the Truth Commission with different types of contracts. But you can only understand the dimension of what we have done in 3 years with COVID when you know that 3,000 persons were involved, because it was, you will see from my colleagues, the transmedia file or the transmedia report that we developed it on simultaneously while the research process was still going on. So the only way you can explain how it was possible to have both things going on the same time was because we had so many persons engaged. We had an advisory board with 2 international persons being part of it, and other Colombians who were all the time trying to let us see if there were some blind points we were missing out. And Jean-Paul Lederach was part of this advisory board that was very good for us because of his international knowledge as well as Boaventura de Sousa. And we worked in 23 countries, and we have to say that was also only possible because we had so many allies who from the beginning were working together with the Truth Commission. And these 23 countries were because there are Colombian victims who left Colombia and live in these countries because of the armed conflict. Sorry. Just to finish, I'm not going to mention it then, but just to let you know, the main result of the Truth Commission is, of course, the report, which is, a written report, but not only a written report. It has not been printed from the Truth Commission. It has not been printed, but other allies and organizations are having hard copies of it. And so we have 10 volumes, and these are the names of the volumes and the thematic topics. We went into some topics which are like I forgot the word. Like enfoques poblacionales.
Approach, differential approach.
We have like a volume on gender violence and LGBTI communities. We have a volume on ethnic peoples. We had a volume on childhood and youth, and we had a volume on exiled population. And then we have other more transversal or subjects like human rights violations, and a historical volume on how we see that the conflict and peace efforts have been developed in Colombia historically. And of course, the main volume, which has the main findings and recommendations for non-repetition. So you can have this information, and this is all available in the transmedia files. And so my colleagues, Andrea and Marcela, will share with you how was our research methodology and which are some highlights and innovations we had. And Marcela is going to share with you the digital platform that we have created and which she has advised from the conceptualization until the end result. Thank you so much.
Hello, first of all, thank you for this invitation. Thank you, Josefina, Kroc Institute, Omar, for all the things that you are doing with the legacy of the Truth Commission. I'm going to explain a little bit because I really want that invite you to the workshops that we are going to have tomorrow and Thursday and Friday also, and we are going more in deep with the methodology, with the tools, with the data set that we have. Here, first of all, I want to show you like the Commission has a methodological route. We need to create, to invite some routes for doing everything that I have. We have a different approach, methodologies, and instruments. In the case of the instrument, our main instrument was the interviews, because the interviews are the voices of the victims, and we have 8 different types of interviews. We receive information, external information for different groups, NGOs, academy, and everything, and also we need to create a security things for receipt, for processing, and everything. We have to create data systematization and analytics tools, and we have different teams work on this. We have to develop a proper or innovation technology tools. For example, Gabriel has to create ENLP tools for doing a text analysis with the interviews or with some reports. Of course, different teams in the commission has to develop their own methodology. In this route, obviously, we have some key points very important for it to develop to try to have at the end the report. In the first step, one team, a specialized team, do a proper literature review some experience and some lessons learned from other through commission to have the best practice here. Also, the commission developed a territorial approach, not only inside of Colombia, but also with international notes, was quite important for us. And this is a really new point of view with the exilio. Yeah. And of course, how Maria mentioned, we have a different approach, like ethnic people, and the team develop a proper methodology to work with the communities. And I think this is quite important for us. Gender and LGBTIQ+ has an important also work with victims. And I think that this methodology is going to be really important in future. And you are going to find that methodology in the transmedia's file. The fourth step, for me, is the key points. But if you go to the transmedia, you are going to find the proper document with all the process, more in depth, of course. Was the development of the tools, especially the interviews, and the mission information system called the SIM, which was the core of the commission, because they collect information, process the information, transcribe the interviews, tag the interviews for the analysis. Yeah. The system, the mission information system, we have a lot of information. The volume of information collected was huge. Yeah, the majority of them is going to be public, and you are going to find in the archive. But another, because of the security things, is private. Yeah, we have different formats of information. We have structured data sets, matrix, Excel, reports, yeah, PDF documents, archive documents, audio, press, objects, many things. And we don't have many time for that, only 3 years for doing everything. We need to processing fast, very quickly, in a systematical way also, because, it's huge and everybody needs to talk the same language. That's the main major challenge for us, to process everything fast. For that reason, we developed some tools. This is the quantitative information that we collect. We collect 562 matrix of information. Some was a proper data set, another is only matrix information, only the Excel report. Here I want to highlight that we had 14 that was created by the research of the Truth Commission, which is quite important. We have, for example, torture or the medical staff also. And I think that this is 14 is a totally new documentation, which is really important. The other data set that is a proper data set, because they have a relation links, is the data set of entrevistas a víctimas, familiares y testigos, who is one of the interviews that the commission did. And the rest of the information, 547, is different topics, public and private information, general about elections, about someone is about victims, another is in a general way, someone is temporal, geographical, etc. And in the link that is here, I think that this is the last one. This one, you are going to find the data set of entrevistas, víctimas, familiares y testigos, that I think is one of the most important quantitative resource that the commission has. And this one is like the qualitative documentation that we have. We have, how I mentioned, 8 types of interviews. This type of interviews, the first one is the individual interviews with victims, families, and we have in total 10,000. Then we have in-depth interview, 2,500. Then armed actors, 200. Ethnic collective subject, which is very important in the chapter of ethnic. 36 community diagnostics, life stories, like is a really important also source of information. Interview groups, 900, and civilian third party, 13th. And this is like the proper information of the True Commission, the voice of the victims, and is an important source. We also have 600 cases plus 1,800 reports. This report was made for different NGOs or consultants because the commission needs that reports, and is quite important also because they have a lot of important information. And we have external sources, is 2 million of information, different types, how I mentioned, pictures, press, etc. And I don't have exactly that about the internal resources, but I suppose is millions too. This one is only a small picture about the quantitative research road. For us in the team, it's quite important to have a question. Yeah, then we are going to indeed with the search information, cleaning data, processing. Then we develop the statistical models to try to prove the hypothesis or answer the question, and then we develop a research seminar. That's the way that my team usually worked. Yeah, and I only want to show in very quickly, and then if you want more explanation, I can give you, or welcome to the workshops. We are going to have a workshop focus in this Friday. Yeah, and now, thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Marcela Peláez, and I was in charge of the digital experience of the final report. I wanted to start with a video we prepared when we delivered the final report, so you can have a glance of what we had, and of course it's an animation, so also you have a feeling of how we interpreted this report, so that we had a different kind of experience that was appealing to every single public in Colombia and worldwide. So I'm going to leave you first with this video. Bye. Sorry.
El legado que la Comisión de la Verdad le deja al país comprende los volúmenes del informe final, las recomendaciones y las voces y testimonios de personas que la Comisión recogió durante su mandato. En la plataforma digital se encuentra el resultado del proceso de investigación, análisis y contrastación adelantado por la comisión, así como volúmenes del informe final. Toda la población podrá acceder a un gran número de contenidos digitales que amplían la información recopilada en los volúmenes y narran la experiencia de la comisión, el diálogo social a nivel nacional y territorial, y los aprendizajes alrededor de los objetivos, enfoques y estrategias. Navegar por los componentes permite adentrarse al relato más amplio de las 6 décadas de conflicto armado en Colombia. Algunos abordan el lado humano del conflicto a través de testimonios e historias de vida de colombianos y colombianas que vivieron la guerra de manera cercana, así como las experiencias de afrontamientos y resistencias que han permitido sanar y construir paz en medio de la guerra. Otros componentes abren un horizonte de futuro para que sean adoptados por la sociedad y el Estado, trazando el camino hacia una paz grande. La plataforma digital permite acceder al resultado de algunos de los procesos de construcción colectiva adelantados con diversas comunidades educativas, sociales y políticas que pueden ser descargados e implementados en cualquier lugar. A disposición de toda la población colombiana se encuentra el Archivo del Esclarecimiento de la Verdad, compuesto por más de 2.500 recursos públicos que permiten conocer los orígenes de la información y ampliar el relato total de la comisión. Este fue un esfuerzo que no hicimos solos. Lo alcanzamos con miles de personas y organizaciones nacionales e internacionales, a quienes hoy les decimos gracias por su aporte a la verdad. El informe final y su plataforma digital son una herramienta para el futuro. Esperamos que se convierta en una apertura de una conversación que se extienda entre toda la población y sirva de motor a la no repetición.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we created this digital platform. In 2021, we gathered together a team of very talented professionals from video producers, audio producers, cartographers, designers, developers, photographers, illustrators, animators, editors, quite a variety of professionals, and we were facing the multiple challenges because we needed to deliver to the country a report that had to be accessible to everyone. Anywhere, so and it had to be appealing. We needed to create emotional and empathetic links with the audience. So we thought about all the contents very carefully, thinking what was the best formats to tell the stories that we wanted to tell. That it was part of all the investigation the commission was having. It was ongoing at that time. So we created this concept of a platform that had different levels in depth, where any person that would be enter the platform would have a different experience. And it would have an immersive experience in itself, but thinking that everything had to be appealing according to a lot of publics. So you have information that if you just go in just once and watch one video, you can have a glance of what you have in the volumes that are written. But as well, if you're interested in going deeper into the investigation of the platform, you have the volumes that you can read, but you can go to the archive that has information that is public, all the public resources that are available to the public, so that we wanted to people access and continue with investigations or broaden their experience. But I think it's very important that we always thought that it had to be an interesting experience for anyone, but mostly to younger generations, because we think like young people are the real the agents of change that will be the objective of non-repetition is really relying on their hands. So that's what we had to tell this story that we always thought like this is a horror story that we have to make it a little bit more excited. I mean, not nicer but more excited, like not so like appealing to anyone, but mostly for younger generations to assimilate all this information and hopefully move towards non-repetition. I want like this, all the information that I have in the digital platform is public. It was one of the things that were very important to us, that anything that was there, it was accessible to anyone, so anyone could use it according to whatever means or needs they had. This is not an information or products that belong to any of us. It really belongs to all the population. So everything is downloadable. You can download all the contents that you find in the transmedia and use them however you want. And it's something that we've seen that it's happening. And we also had like go with the access, the internet access was very important, so that we could go throughout the whole territory. But we also knew that we had like the limit of internet, that it wasn't like available in the whole territory. So we also developed a version that's downloadable of the platform, that you can have it in a USB and connect anywhere without internet and have a very similar experience to what you have. So we guarantee even more the access to this information. And just like something that I wanted to share as well with you, that's the impact that we've had with this digital platform, is that since the launching of the platform in June 28th, we've had around 2,000 visits daily up to now. That we thought like at the beginning it was like we would have an impact during the first month, but it has been ongoing. We've had over like almost 4 million visits, and each visit has almost 4 minutes in average of duration from each user. So that is telling that people are really consuming this, the information that we've produced, and that people are using this for like what we wanted to do, that it was impact and keep on going, because we always thought that this is a starting point for opening a conversation that we always hope that it's going to spread around in space and time. And of course, well, we thank you all for being here and your interest. And this is, of course, an invitation for you to go and dive into this experience. You can ditch your Netflix account for a little while and go and dedicate yourselves to watch and experience all of this material that we've produced for all you. And of course, for the victims that to have their voices heard. So thank you very much. And as well, welcome to the sessions we're going to have, so you can have the details on this.
Thank you so much, Marcela, Maria, Gabriel, and Angela for what you shared. As you can tell, this is just an incredible amount of work and love for the country and for this effort of non-repetition. And so I think what's so incredible of what you all have been a part of, and the 3,000 people who are part of the Truth Commission, is that this is a legacy and this is something to continue to graph it. And that is why it's so important that this has been made accessible and available. And so with that, a year ago, there was a question of where this was going to live. And there was a deep fear around, like, we can't lose this. You know, as a society, the non-repetition part, like, this isn't just a report, and the commission was just in it to finish the report, but where was this going to live? How all of these testimonies. I remember talking and being a part of honored to be a part of these discussions around where this would be with different Colombian organizations, universities, allies. Everyone was around thinking this through. So right now I'd like to invite what has become a collaboration here with the University of Notre Dame, 4 different institutes that have come around supporting this legacy project and committing to a transformation in Colombia. So we're going to hear from Josefina Echavarria, the director of the Peace Accord Matrix and associate professor of practice. We'll then hear from Matthew Sisk, associate professor of the practice of the Lucy Family Institute for Data and Security. We will hear from Aníbal Pérez Liñán, professor of political science and global affairs from the Kellogg Institute for International Studies, and then Colin Barr, professor of modern Irish history and director of the Clingen Family Center for the study of modern Ireland.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you very much to all 4 of you for that wonderful presentation of the project. My name is Josefina Echavarria. I'm the director of the Peace Accords Matrix, and I'm very happy to be here with you today to launch this project. Today is it's like a new birth. It started many years ago already in the minds of a lot of associations of victims and the international support to them in the Havana table to really have a truth commission in Colombia that was not only so that we had a system of transitional justice that was not only focusing on judging those who were responsible for the atrocities, but also acknowledging, honoring the victims, and eventually also contributing to the reparation and, of course, to non-repetition. So this has been a project, so to speak, in the making for many years. But here at the University of Notre Dame, what we want to do is, on the one hand, safeguard all these wonderful digital archives, and on the other hand, further develop them and explore them together. So the first thing that we have been doing for the past months, thanks to the great commitment of the Lucy Family Institute, has been to first transfer the information to the servers of the University of Notre Dame, knowing that the servers in Colombia will be shut down very soon. So we're really hoping that it works. I think that everything points towards that direction. And we are very optimistic, as always. That's never in short supply around here. The second thing is what we have to do for the decades to come. I think that you find that in the brochure, we're aiming to develop this project along 4 main lines: research, policy, practice, and teaching. We have different institutes here that are going to speak just after myself to share with you why they are supporting the legacy project. What is it that they see in this particular contribution? This is, of course, a digital human rights archive, but it's much more than that. I think this is an example to learn and to draw insights from, not only for Colombians, but for the world. This semester particularly, so we have 2 big challenges. The first one is that we're going to be teaching a course on truth commissions. I see some of the students that have signed up for the course. It's going to be the first time that we have a similar course here at Notre Dame, at least in a peace and conflict studies setting. And I think that we have also the great opportunity with people like Tekla, with Lori Nathan, Roy Brett, etc., to really use the knowledge and the know-how and the experiences that we have here at the Keough School to learn from and within and with our students who have also worked in many truth commissions. But by the end of this semester, what we want is to really fine-tune a strategic vision for what will be the legacy project at the University of Notre Dame. This includes, of course, thinking about an English version. So your feedback is more than welcome, not only after the event today, but in the next couple of days as we work with the commission staff, etc., in our workshops. What would you like to see first, not only translated, but really in an English version, in an abbreviated version of the legacy project? So we are really hoping that we have this by the end of the semester, at least the structure of that English version, and of course, a web portal where we are able to keep the legacy transmedia files as they were envisaged by this amazing team, but that we also have the opportunity to include there further research, practice, policy implications, and teaching. I would like to end with some words of appreciation. Of course, first of all, to the Truth Commission, to the staff. We have here 4 wonderful individuals, and we heard from Francisco Herrú at the beginning, but the commission had at some point 3,000 people on the staff. I mean, this was an incredible effort, a concerted effort, not just in Colombia, but also throughout the world. So thank you so much, because we know that this type of successful project only comes when you are 120% committed personally too, and not just professionally. Also, thank you so much to Humanity United, who has been a partner of the Kroc Institute and a trusted collaborator also for us at the Barometer. It is great to work with a foundation that is already committed to long-term peace building, so that a multi-year commitment is not something that creates surprise, but it's just the beginning of our relationship. Thank you so much for your trust in us. And of course, at the University of Notre Dame, first of all, the Dean's Office. When we first talked about the possibility of keeping in perpetuity the transmedia files of the Truth Commission, not only the Kroc directors were incredibly open to that possibility, but also the Dean's Office. Without the support of the Dean, we would have never gotten, for example, a license agreement in 6.5 weeks, which is what it took us with international lawyers, translators, etc. So I really want to thank the Dean for that. Personally, also the General Counsel, the Office of Research, who have provided incredible support. And of course, all our friends here at the Keough School, but also outside of the Keough School, like the Lucy Family Institute, who have been so incredibly supportive of this project. And we will be listening directly from them. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Sisk. I am here on behalf of the director of the Lucy Family Institute, Niches Chavalo, who's unfortunately needed to be out of the country today. And I just want to represent the work that we're doing in the Lucy Family Institute for Data and Society, that we have done and that we will do on this project, which means that I have about 3 minutes to give you all the technical details possible on the work of transferring this rich transmedia site, databases, and analysis that we've heard all about in the last hour. So I could easily spend that time describing the servers and the specifics of each one, going over the process of moving material and readjusting DNS registries and ArcGIS portal sites, difficulties with systems and vendors, and trying to move terabytes of endangered data on a quick schedule. I could talk about how incredible the team, both in Columbia and at Notre Dame, have been at working together to solve all of the normal problems and roadblocks in this process. But I won't beyond that, because the most important part of this project doesn't lie in the technical specifics, but in the material itself, and how important and how this transmedia so imperfectly encapsulates the mission of the Lucy Family Institute, to use the tools of data science to help address societal challenges and opportunities. And really, what could be a better example of that than a project like this one? A unique archive of a digital peace process, a corpus of material that is so obviously a passion project for a group of highly talented, undeniably committed individuals. Innovative uses of natural language processing to understand the impacts and legacy of the peace and reconciliation process. Spatial data that helps to present the context and implications of all of this work. Setting this collection up in a sustainable, persistent way will allow continued access to the archive, will expand the reach and ensure that digital access, analysis, and exploration of it will be possible at scale for students and researchers throughout the world. We have been and will be continuing to work with the Colombian team this week and beyond to be effective and respectful stewards of this incredible archive, and to help researchers at Notre Dame and beyond make use of this incredible work. We are honored to help hold the transmedia site at the Lucy Family Institute for the coming years, and deeply appreciate the opportunity and the trust placed in us to do so. Because at the end of the day, for people working in technology and data, this is the kind of collection that comes along once in a career. The impact of this work will be felt for a long time, and the Lucy Family Institute for Data and Society is extraordinarily proud to play a role in its curation and preservation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aníbal Pérez. I'm director of the Kellogg Institute. On behalf of the Kellogg Institute, I want to emphasize that it's a great honor for us to be part of this initiative, which really illustrates a great potential for collaboration across the Keough School of Global Affairs and across the University of Notre Dame. Hay futuro si hay verdad. There is future if there is truth. I think that this phrase forces us to think, what is our responsibility with respect to truth and memory, and what is the role that we as a new university should play with respect to that responsibility. It seems that at least there are three functions that this project is going to fulfill, because first, memory must be preserved, right? And we talked a lot about that today. There is a post-custodial function of the legacy project. The preservation of the transmedia report that Maria Paula very, very clearly described today in a very interesting way. And documentation, we know it's crucial not only for memory, but also for accountability. The second aspect is that memory must be recovered, right? Memory is not a passive thing. It must be activated and recovered. And so there is an opportunity to explore the material using this rich material using new techniques. And I'm very glad that Gabriela and Andrea are with us today. And I think here's where the Lucy Institute can play a fantastic role in terms of using new techniques like text processing, natural language processing to analyze information. But finally, I would like to emphasize that memory must be activated, right? It must be activated through reflection, because this is the opportunity to learn and to guarantee non-repetition. And so for us, the question, as we had conversations many times, the question was, how can we encourage researchers to use the transmedia files? And so the idea that we come up with is to promote the use of those files for research in a proactive way. And so I would like to announce today that the Kellogg Institute is going to support 2 grants every year, 2 legacy project grants, with the aim to support Notre Dame faculty and external researchers to use the files of the Colombian Truth Commission. And this will take 2 modalities. The first one is support for external researchers who are using the materials of the Commission in their work to come to Notre Dame and present their work and share it with us for a week. And the second modality will be to support Notre Dame researchers, faculty, students, and researchers in general who may be working alone at the university or collaborating with researchers elsewhere to develop a work using the materials of the Commission. So I think this is a fundamental part of our responsibility in terms of preserving and activating memory. And this is why we are so excited about this opportunity.
My name is Colin Bard. I'm the director of the Clingen Family Center for the study of modern Ireland. And my involvement in this goes right back to April, when I joined Josefina and the Barometer team in Colombia and in Bogota, and met with the Irish ambassador to dinner, and Maria Paula was there and others. And I remember coming back to Notre Dame, fired up by the vision of this project and the importance of this project, to meet with Dean Appleby. And as Josefina said, he was hugely encouraging about the project and saw its importance. But he said, "But why are you here?" And that was a layered question, perhaps, but it was also a good one. Is that an Irish center is not naturally the best fit? And fine, the Irish ambassador in many ways made the introductions and brokered this. But it's a question that stuck with me, particularly when I think about the people who are involved, the Lucy Family Foundation and the absolute importance of data science, the people of the Truth Commission, the 3,000 people who worked on this, the generosity and vision of Humanity United, and the skills of Kroc. Ireland sits out at a little bit of a remove from that. And then I recall that our mission in the wider Kroc Institute is not only to bring Ireland to the world, but also bring the world to Ireland. And what we're doing is just exactly that, is in about 2 weeks' time, a number of us, Maria, Josefina, others, Matthew, will be traveling to Dublin as the guests of the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Irish Foreign Ministry, and presenting the Legacy Project to the Irish foreign policy community, policymaking community in Dublin, and then traveling on to Belfast with our partners at Queen's University in Belfast to do a workshop specifically looking at the lessons from Colombia and from the Truth Commission and how those might apply in the context of Northern Ireland, and having a workshop with people involved in the peace process there. But to bring the experience of Colombia, that incredible vision, richness, the importance of centering victims, the incredible transmedia platform, and actually show that to an Irish audience, model that for an Irish audience, and say, look at what has been done in Colombia. Learn from this in Ireland's own process, which is as yet incomplete and very different in character. But I think finally that is an answer to Dean Appleby will permit me to have a 6-month wait on giving him a good one as to what I was doing there. What we're doing here is supporting, yes, this fantastic project, but also to represent to a new audience why it is so important, that it matters to the world. And I think part of the Legacy Project is the name. Part of that legacy is to take it beyond just Colombia and to show what has been achieved and what can be achieved, and show that to other places. And what better place to start than Ireland here at Notre Dame. So I congratulate everybody involved, and our small part in this has been a tremendous honor. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has just been incredible. Thank you to all of you who just presented. I just am thrilled. As a funder, often you are looking for ways to support and to see 4 institutions come around this and other ways leveraging those resources, to see and hear, again, just the different technical expertise, the inputs of everyone. It's just this project is just expanding, and it should. And it's our legacy, it's our story. It's both for Colombia, for the future of Colombia, as well as for the world, and as other processes are going to go through this. So I just want to thank you again for everything you shared, for the effort that you took to make this accessible, interesting. It is deeply, deeply difficult to grapple with our history. And this is a way we can do it, and to do it so that what we are grappling with and what we're seeing is sound, there's a methodology that is open, that is so everyone can see how that happened. For the vision of making sure that this didn't stop on the 28th of June when the report was created, and to you all to making the first step in the space to make this happen. So right now I'd like to turn it over to questions. And so I would like to take 3 at a time. And so, yeah, let's do 3. Oh, 2. We have chance for 2.
Hi, thank you. So our first question comes from Nancy from Colombia. How can Colombian universities collaborate with the University of Notre Dame and other international allies to sustain the legacy of the Truth Commission, considering some of the actions we have been planning inside and outside of the universities? And then the second question is, and this is maybe for our colleague at Kellogg, where can we learn more information about the 2 research grants for the Legacy Project?
Great, we can get started with this. There's another question.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Nancy, for your question. And you can get in touch with one of us in Colombia. And we are trying not only in Colombia, but beyond Colombia to promote this network of allies of the Truth Commission who have been meeting regularly and who are planning actions individually or collectively, as here, in order to preserve the legacy and to go beyond the results of the Truth Commission, to engage with dissemination, but also with the implementation of the recommendations for non-repetition. And there are a lot of universities who have already designed programs, teaching programs and research programs based on the results of the Truth Commission. So that's one way you can possibly engage. so we can get in touch in Colombia and try to connect you to other universities if you are interested. And maybe before I don't speak anymore, I just wanted to invite the University of Notre Dame not only to go Irish, but to go Colombo Irish from now onwards.
I was very glad to hear that there is already interest in the research grants. That's very exciting for us. Please contact me if you have questions, so we can follow up on that. We are going to post the platform for submission for applications very soon with the details about the applications. But if that's going to happen perhaps in a month or so. But if you want more information about the details, please feel free to contact me.
Thank you. Great. We have a question here in the back.
Hi, I'm Tekla Namachanja Wanjala from Kenya, former commissioner with the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission. And first, I would like to really thank Notre Dame for supporting you to package and ensure the safety of this information. I was not just a commissioner, but an acting chair of Kenya's truth-seeking process. And if you asked me now where our information is archived, I have no idea. And as I always sleep, I worry, especially about the in-camera, very sensitive information that we received. And you search for Kenyans' information now, it's very hard for you to come across it. And I think the reason why we had this problem is that while we thought that we had a transitional moment and we needed the truth-seeking process, when it came to implementing the process, we realized that this was not the case. And the question I'm asking you is your government aware of this process? Did they sanction? Do they know that you are here now? And this is good for the victims, but do we still have perpetrators in the current government of Colombia? And if they are there, what do they think about this process? And I think I'm excited to be here because this is what, maybe I'm also going to be one of the first beneficiaries of this information because I'm here also to document our process in terms of looking at the challenges we experience. So thank you. Thank you so much for this great job.
Thank you. Do you have another question that you want to respond?
This one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it's so great to meet across borders because I do believe what I have seen in the last years, and this is part of my personal story. I was working for the High Commissioner for Peace, and we developed a lot of materials while I was working at that public state institution. And once the government changed, all the materials were erased from the web. So I knew as I entered the Truth Commission, this was my second chance. And having learned from that experience to try this time to make this material available. And then I found the greatest partners on the road to try to have this really accessible for a longer period or for perpetuity. This word makes me always nervous when we say it, but it's written like that in the license. What I wanted to say with this story is that the Kenyan conflict and the Colombian conflict are completely different, and the Irish conflict, but there are victims in all these countries, and the suffering and the dignity and the recognition and the reparation of human beings is a common issue. So I guess I do believe we can learn from other experiences and try to be better human beings and a better world, learning from each other. So it's great to have you here. I have to say, Colombia has more than 60 years of armed conflict. We have more than 26 armed groups, and it's a mixture of a lot of drug trafficking, and it's very complex. But we are facing what I call a hope for peace and an opportunity. We have a government which is completely engaged with peace building. We didn't know that we were going to deliver our report to this president because he was elected 8 days before we delivered our report. And when he was elected, he said publicly he will engage with the recommendations for non-repetition. So we are now all hoping that this works out. And from the international cases we analyzed before, that was one of the elements to have an impact and to have a result. We saw from other truth commissions 2 different elements: political will and social ownership. With the political will, we were not able to do anything because we were not able to influence the decision of the voters in Colombia. But therefore, we moved to the social ownership, and that's our legacy strategy. So we were working a lot on that. And then we had the right precedent for these recommendations. So now I would say Colombia has a moment of enlightenment, and we hope it works. The changes we have to do structurally and culturally in our society go beyond 4 years of a president. There are too many things that we have to change in our society in order to stop having armed groups. But the first step is perhaps to have the political will and the conscience. And that's why we believe having the transmedia files open for society will help us to gain in conscience about what has happened in our country. And that's why Marcela was saying that one of our target groups was youth, because we do believe, and we see youth in the streets who are not willing to buy a war that has been going on for generations. So I always see the glass half full. I'm a peace practitioner. So you have to think it's possible. So I do believe it's the right moment for the country, but we still have a long way to go. John Paul taught us it's almost the same number of years that you had a conflict that you have to build peace. So for Colombia, that would be around 60 years.
Thank you, Tecla, for your question. I actually want to take the chance to ask Marcela and Gabriel and Angela a question, because you're here and you know the behind the scenes, you engaged with this, but it also didn't exist 2 years ago. What is something that surprised you about from when you were conceptualizing it to what it is now? And to you both more on the data side, what is something about the data that is interesting to you that you'd like to share with us that we wouldn't necessarily pick up on?
When we started thinking about how we were going to build the platform, well, we had no idea what they were writing the reports about. So because we had a separate team and we had a link with a researcher from the team that was like how we communicated and how we sort of knew what was going on in that side of the world. But I mean, the biggest surprise is that we actually made it. That we could, I mean, because once we started thinking on the amount of information and all that we have to go through in order to see what we're going to publish, it was overwhelming. But yeah, I think the thing is that we made it actually on time. And one of the biggest worries was okay, are we going to be coherent with what's going on with the written report? Because it wasn't like open communication to what's going. There were many changes, but we're saying like, okay, we just move on. We move on. We have the stories. We have we know what we want to tell. We have the basis of the report, so we have to move on and pray for this thing works.
Wonderful, thank you.
I speak Spanish.
Okay.
Creo que cuando exploramos las entrevistas de las víctimas y encontrábamos que muchos hechos victimizantes generaban emociones específicas.
So let me just translate. As they were reviewing and looking at the interviews with the victims, they realized they were picking up on different emotions that were coming out in the words.
Y particularmente en algunos de los estudios que hicimos, habían algunas víctimas que expresaban diferentes emociones. Eso me impactó bastante.
In particular, as they were exploring the different interviews, the different types of emotions that were coming up in the victim interviews.
¿Cómo expresar el duelo? ¿Cómo expresar la pérdida de alguien? Eso es de los reportes que más me conmovieron.
Yeah, for him, the most moving was how to those that were expressing the emotion around pain and about losing someone.
My goodness, in my case, okay. In the analytical team produced more than 90 documents with different statistical models and different approach and data. And for me, one of the most shocked was one project that we did to try to understand the probability of suffer one type of violence. And we found that the probability is huge when you are a woman and your race is you are Black, basically. That's for me was shocking. This is one. We have another project called Estimation Project. We collect, as you see, many data sets, but in this case, we need the names of the victims, the place, and the data. And we try to build one biggest data set and was quite shocked also to find that one person suffered a different violence, sometimes in the same moment, another in different moments. Was shocked for me. Obviously, how Gabriel mentioned, when you translate of everything to the quantitative thing, you are losing that humanity, no? And when we try to mix our approach, was quite difficult personally, but academically very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. We have a question here in the front.
Thank you, Leslie. I have two questions. One is, I think, following up on Andrea's comments. I think it was Marcela who said that, was describing the process and said that part of the research process was identifying hypotheses and then testing those hypotheses with the data that was being collected. I was wondering if you could comment a little bit on what were some of the hypotheses that you developed and you explored, if that would be interesting. And my second question, more generally, is what is the framework for assessing compliance with the recommendations of the report over the long run?
Okay, I was thinking the hypothesis because obviously we have different research teams. But for example, we have one focus in the impact of the construction, some oil that's I forget to say in English, sorry, para construir los oleoductos. Yeah. For example, we try to measure that. The hypothesis behind is that this type of construction has impact in the conflict. We have another with land restitution, for example, and not focusing the land restitution, but more in the despojo, displacement and displacement, forced displacement. Yeah, but it's too many hypotheses because it depends on some hypothesis was in the very beginning, explore things. Yeah, we did maps, some dashboard for doing that. Yeah, but yeah, we have many. Yeah.
And then Maria's going to respond to that, and then go to you.
Yeah, for the recommendations for non-repetition, I would say, as we were established as a public institution, state institution, our mandate included that once we came to an end, we needed to establish a following up committee. That was also a lesson learned from other peace processes around the world and truth commissions, because the recommendations were never implemented. So the Colombians thought, okay, we will establish a committee to follow up on the implementation of the recommendations. However, when we delivered the recommendations, we had the president and the social ownership we have gained, both saying we are going to implement the recommendation. So this is the first time that it happens. I would say the following up committee is trying to find out now their role, because they were supposed to be working very hard in order to put the recommendations into the political agenda, but they are already there. I guess already 5 recommendations have been implemented already from the 67 we have delivered. Others will take more time. These 67 recommendations we have suggested to be implemented between 1, 2, and 3 years. So that will depend on the current government, and that's also very good news, because we don't know what's going to happen afterwards. So we have this committee, and we have also delivered in the transmedia. We have tried to hand in the recommendations in a very easy manner, so that everyone, also communication agents or media or universities or public servants, can access to them and can really know them very quickly, so that they can engage with the implementation. We also have said which of them are related to ethnic groups, which of them are related to childhood, so that it's really easy to engage. And we think we have the political framework in order to implement them. We will have to see afterwards what's happening, but for the moment it works.
And I'll just add in there, 62% of those 67 recommendations are part of if you continue to implement the peace agreement from 2016, by which we have the Peace Accord Matrix and the Barometer Initiative, who is already monitoring that. So there's already been a connection between passing on what stipulations and how not to recreate the wheel. Like, there's already a big team who can help at least show some following up on certain recommendations. With that, Omar.
My name is Scott Appleby. I'm the Dean of the Keough School. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much to all of you, especially to those of you who've been with us this week from Colombia. We are really grateful for your presence and all that we have learned and are learning from you. I am a historian by training, and then became the director of the Peace Institute. I'd be glad to talk more about my very interesting career at the reception. But the reason I mention that now is that as a historian and as a director of a Peace Institute, I learned in multiple lessons how important memory and recovery is to a healthy society and to moving forward. So our historical awareness and our awareness of past atrocities and trauma is the only way toward a safe and secure future. So I'm so delighted, I know we all are, that we're engaged in this very important work and that we've been able to secure this incredible resource. You have here represented in the Keough School, there are 9 units that all work together toward human dignity. And of course, that means peace and reconciliation, security and human rights and development. And it's good that about a third of them are represented in this collaboration. Certainly the Irish know something about memory and trauma and history and healing, as do our colleagues across Latin America. So I'm glad that Kroc Institute is represented here. And of course, the Kellogg Institute. And the Kroc Institute is represented, of course, by Aaron and Josefina and our colleagues on PAM. So you're getting a pretty good slice of the Keough School. And I also want to acknowledge and thank the Lucy Family Institute because they're providing the technical expertise that we all need. So that's a long-winded way of thanking all of you and welcoming you to Notre Dame after you've been here for a while, but this is the first time I've had a chance to do so. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you everyone so much. I just wanted to call your attention to this QR code. It's a survey that we're doing not just about the event today, but we want to hear from you what you would like to see in the English version of the transmedia files. So we're starting to do this survey. We're going to do it in a systematic way. I'm sure Natalie and others at the Lucy Family Institute are going to help us analyze what this actually means for us. But what we want is to create an English version that is as useful and interesting to you as possible. So that's what I wanted to say before giving back the word to Leslie. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I want to invite you. We have a reception following this. We also have 3 days of talleres, of workshops where you can dive into the background of this, work with this incredible team to see what was behind this work. So that will be, there are pamphlets outside in here where you can show up to different sessions per your interest. And again, thank you so much for being here, and for the start of this incredible partnership.